Hey guys, Toby Fisk here. Hey, so today I'm going to go over a couple things that you can do with a lacrosse ball, kind of to release your upper rib cage and release your upper shoulder. I've been cycling a lot lately in a kind of funky position and noticing a little bit of tightness up in here and up in my neck, and been training a lot of clients virtually, and obviously we don't have the benefit virtually of doing all the things we do in the gym. So this is something that I like to do to kind of release those shoulders and potentially have an effect on your neck and really your upper back posture. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to spend a little bit of time on these areas. So you've got a pec minor in here and a pec major in here. I like to start and I like to work the whole pec muscle. I'm only going to do one side for the sake of the video length, but basically what I like to do is take my opposite hand, and I like to start kind of up in the pec minor area and just kind of work around on that a little bit. And you'll probably feel some little nodules and some little tender spots or hot spots, or some bumps, like little bumps in your muscle. Just kind of work on that a little bit. You don't have to dig real deep, but you do have to apply some pressure. And again, the goal is not to get it all out in one day. If you're really good at this, sometimes you can do that, but work on it 5-10 minutes, a couple 2, 3, 4 days in a row, and I think along with some stretching you can release that shoulder and that neck a little bit. So again, kind of work on this pec minor area. It's right in here on the very side inside of your chest or outside of your chest. And then once I've worked on that for a minute or two, what I like to do is I like to work around the clavicular attachment and the sternal attachment. And I just I feel for any hot spots right up around the clavicle, and a lot of times they're just little tender areas that I can spend a little bit of time on. I like to work kind of like nickel size motions, maybe even a quarter size motion in some areas. If I need more pressure, I apply more pressure with the opposite arm, and then I just kind of work around where I feel that whole pec muscle is. And again, the more tender the area or the more pronounced the rib, work on that a little bit longer and just kind of move around on that. The second thing I like to do once I've spent a couple minutes on this pec muscle is I kind of work up through the triceps. You've got some teres muscles in here. Your lat kind of runs up in here. You've got a lot of muscles on the back of your scapula. So without going into all the details, what I want to show you is what I do is I place this lacrosse ball up here on a door, and I try to kind of work the lacrosse ball kind of up where the back of the shoulder meets the scapula. And a lot of times, I don't know if you feel a hot spot, but you'll feel some serious tender spots. And I just kind of work around, same thing, like maybe nickel or quarter size amounts of space. And then if I feel a real tender spot, I kind of sit on that for a second. I'm tilted back into the door, applying a little pressure into the ball. Okay, and if I find a really good spot that doesn't seem to be releasing, I'll put my arm up in this position and I'll just kind of slowly move it up and down. Just kind of like what massage therapy does, where they kind of pin that muscle down and glide their hands around that motion. Just kind of slide that up and down, and a lot of times you can get that muscle to free up a little bit. And then I'll find another spot, and again, anywhere up to probably 2, 3, 4 minutes on the backside. Kind of get in there and dig a little bit, and then I'll actually work the lacrosse ball over between the spine and the scapula bone. The scapula bone is the big bone on the side of your back that slides around the ribs. I kind of find this little area here, and I kind of work up into my rhomboids, and I work up to the top to where my levator scapula is, which is the muscle that runs up to the back of your neck. And again, I'm not trying to force, but I'm just kind of opening up those muscles between the scapula and the spine. And if, like right now, I've got a little knot probably in my rhomboid. So I'm going to kind of sit back in that a little bit and just kind of sit on there and work that out a little bit. The other thing I like to do, I'm going to step off camera here for just a second. I'm going to try to do it in a standing motion so you can see it, but I'm going to go grab me a foam roller. So I actually prefer to do this lying on the ground, but for the sake of the video, I want to show it. So if I was lying on the ground, it's on my back, kind of put this foam roller up behind my rib cage, and the foam roller is a little broader, and so I can kind of pinch that lat muscle between my ribs and the roller. And what I kind of do is I lift my hips up off the ground, and I just roll the back of that lat out. So I just kind of roll and try to feel for smoothness. And if I feel a little I call them speed bumps, but just little knots or tissue that doesn't feel soft and smooth. I just kind of spend a little time on that, and I might even spend 3, 4, 5 minutes on this foam roller, kind of rolling up and down on the back of that. Again, I don't recommend you do the foam roller on the wall. I just did this for the sake of the video. I actually recommend you do it laying on the floor. And then I would suggest that you do it on the opposite side. And then I've got another video that I've created that's kind of stretching your neck and stretching out your shoulders. I would follow this foam rolling and this lacrosse ball up with the neck stretch and shoulder stretch video.